if you see the diagram I posted, there's like a cutoff point. At that point, above that point, there's only one data set going into the average calculation. Below that, there are loads more. So the general rule is the more data sets you average, usually the more accurate it is. And because there's only one data set to the right-hand side of it, it's less useful.
Okay, so what I did was I clipped part of the conversation here and put it over that scene from Super Troopers where they just said, "Yeah, ignore that little guy." So it's hilarious.
There's a reason.
That's very nice. That's very nice, Creek. Good on you. Good skills, mate.
How he keeps bringing up fiction.
Yeah, but the problem is you guys don't know how to do statistical analysis.
Can I now ask because I was earlier trying to ask Jeremy a question. Jeremy, you kept saying that we have data sets of 18, 20, 32. I'm exaggerating just a bit, but you kept saying high numbers. But we also have averages of 15 and 14. So you keep repeating, we have averages of 18, 19, 20. Why
What
are you only giving
actually
the
is,
high numbers?
The dispute about.
Well, basically, Bob Noodle's done a data dump, and Jeremy got the results of his gyroscope test.
Yeah, I see the chart, right? And the chart represents data sets coming from the optical gyroscope, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the problem?
Here's this hot mic dude again.
All right.
Very quickly, the argument, what averages mean? The argument is, what are numbers? How do we work with them? What do they mean? That's their argument.
Brenda, the issue they have is the fact that from the data points, which there was 20, the average on it, which ended up being 14.97 and a bit of change, right? The error, which is around 2 degrees at 25 degrees C, right? We're within 0.07 of a degree.
I see more than 20, right?
0.07 of
I see more than 20 on there.
Pretty small, isn't it? That's pretty small, isn't it?
More than 20. Wow.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I said
Keep
from
looking at the data, Jeremy. Let's see, maybe we're gonna get 40 by the time this is done.
Yeah, we obviously have to have our own data guys look at this because
I just want to know.
From you guys.
I just want to know if this is the biggest conspiracy that you flatties think has ever happened. Then why aren't your data guys on it, Brendan? SC, Jeremy, where's your data guys?
Why'd you ask Brenda? Brenda's not.
There's the.
First of all,
I don't know. I don't know.
Brenda said.
Brendan, can you answer that?
Go ahead.
The biggest conspiracy ever.
It seems your Delta team, Queen, is better than our Delta team.
Wow.
For sure.
You're faster than us.
Wow. You know, you guys are out there trying to seek the truth.
I'm sure our Delta team is going to crunch those numbers as well, Queen. So don't rush.
Noodle has had the data for a long time. Why hasn't Noodle done this?
Noodle did do this.
I've given you
No, he
the
did the
data
measures.
set.
He hasn't done any of the analysis.
You don't know that.
You do.
What's that? Noodle took a big shit in the pool, and now there's a floater.
Can I just go over his data real quick with him?
By the way, Jeremy, I didn't.
Why is there multiple X's?
Jeremy, hey Jeremy.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Why is there? Which X's are? There's a lot of X's and zeros on each line of the vertical line here.
Because you don't understand it.
Yes, so that's why I'm asking questions. Which one is the rotation? Why is there so many things on each line?
Do you know how to read the graph?
No, we don't.
That's why I'm asking.
Where's Nick? He's our data interpretation guy. Oh, I think he had to jump off.
Why are all the blue circles so high and all the purple X's so low?
What do the margins say on each axis of the graph?
Time and rotation. What did you ask?
Hey, Davros, why don't you take that condescending tone at you,
And why don't
Bob,
you just go
and
fuck
stick it
yourself, Mel?
where the sun don't shine.
Mel, just go fuck yourself, mate. Alright.
Jeremy, what seems to be the problem?
You're about as useless as tits on a bull, Davros. Ever heard that one?
Oh, so now you're about to spiral, are you there, Mel?
Why? You can't get anything done here.
Merle's been getting feisty lately.
I don't know, Merle. I want to go over the data with these guys. Like, can I?
No, you
have,
don't.
like,
Jeremy,
1 minute real
Jeremy,
quick?
what is the actual problem?
I want to understand how to read this graph. Now, there's a lot of blue circles way up top, and there's a lot of like purple X's or dark colored X's way at the bottom. And all in between, there's yellow, blue, whatever, all different colored ones.
Yeah, there's different
Which ones
colors.
Okay,
But
what are the blue circles?
The red circle is the average, right?
What are the blue circles?
The red circle is the running average, though, right?
All right, what are the blue circles?
What does it say?
It says logging DSP 1760 _ 3 _ 17. You want me to keep going?
Yeah, do you know what DS?
You cut out.
Brendan, you're roboting,
I
unfortunately.
suspect these are just different data streams coming from the.
We don't suspect that. We're not doing any suspecting.
But it doesn't matter.
I want to know what the blue dots are, and it does fucking matter. Why don't you just be quiet if you're not interested or don't care or don't think it matters?
I don't think it matters because you have the running average.
Okay. Thanks.
That's
Brendan.
the red circles,
What are
right?
Now, what are the blue? Does anybody know what the blue circles are? If not, that's fine. Does anybody know what the purple X's are?
Each set of circles or X's is one data set. So they collected the data at different times, and each of these series are at different times, different altitudes. We don't know the variables for each data set.
Are the blue circles, based on my graph, the blue circles appear to be the ones that were done during a low temperature condition?
Okay, so they were done.
How do you know that?
Because I just pulled the graph and showed it. I don't know if the legends apply, but
Okay,
these are blue,
so-
and coincidentally their temperature is lower, and they also have more deviation towards the right side. So maybe.
So
that's
Moya,
why I asked earlier, what is the working temperature range for the
Moya.
most accurate results
Yes.
for this
see,
machine that he
see
had?
the coloured
I don't,
sections in
somebody
the
talked to
centre
me.
of
Yeah,
that.
you guys probably didn't even hear any of that, did you?
Well,
Yeah.
sorry, I was trying to talk to Moyoc.
I know, but I was already speaking. You tried to talk to Moyak in the middle of
But
me
you
talking
don't
to
even
Moyak.
know what you're looking
Go
at.
ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead, Jeremy. What was your question?
What's the best working temperature for this machine that he had? Does anybody know?
We have got the spec. I think it's.
We do.
All right, I'm back. Questions?
Yeah. What are the specs for this machine? Like, what's the best working temperature to get the most accurate results? I don't know why we're measuring temperature. I thought this thing was just measuring rotation. Now we're into temperature.
It's
Does
an
pressure
electronic
matter?
device. Sometimes electronic devices are subject to temperature swings.
Okay, does
Hang on,
pressure
who
matter?
are we talking to?
Can we let Fog XD go over this a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys just shut up.
Yeah, did you want to guide it with a question or?
Yes, I have questions. Yes, thank you. What's the best working temperature for this machine to get the most accurate results? Do you know, or
Ask him about the data, Jeremy. We've got the spec. If it's posted in the chat, if you want to have a look,
Alright.
have a look.
is there a difference between blue circles and purple X's?
Yes. So each, let's say the blue circles or the purple X's or the red X's, each of those are one of the data sets that Bob published.
Okay.
So these data sets are just a long series of measurements that are done and stopped, and then you get a file, and each one of those series corresponds to one of those files.
So there's points where we measured an 11-degree rotation. And there's points where we measured a 20-degree rotation per hour.
Well,
Correct.
not exactly. So
I see a blue circle
with,
over
with
20.
any. Yeah, and this is important to understand with gyro measurements or any measurement where you have a lot of noise. And that is that just looking at one sample, one single measurement, because it does 1,000 measurements every second. Just looking at one of those will not give you any good data. You need to average over a longer period of time, because then the noise averages out and you're left with the signal that you want to measure.
Sure. So, but the highest reading we got was 20 degrees per hour, right?
No, if you look at the raw data, the variation, the noise, because of the gyro itself, is much wider. So in the graph, in the graph I'm presenting, right, I've done a 20-second average, and that reduces the noise substantially. So you can see that each of these lines, they are more or less stable, and you see roughly where the its midpoint, its average is. But I didn't want to smooth it out completely, because that kind of hides what's going on. It's nothing to hide that there is noise on the data from the gyro.
I'm looking at a graph, right? And there's a blue circle at 20 degrees per hour. Did that not happen, or did that happen?
Yeah, there's one 20-second period where that was the average.
Okay. So we did measure up to 20 degrees per hour at one point.
Well, you have to, again, the measurement, you don't get a measurement from just a single sample. And you also don't get a measurement from just a 20-second period of averaging.
I understand, but one of the measurements was 20 degrees per hour, right?
I think even greater than that, if you're talking about individual measurements, right?
Yeah, so if I were to...
I'm going to ask you a simple yes or no question. Was one of the measurements 20 degrees per hour?
Well, I'm gonna make it nuanced for you, because if I were to change the averaging from 20 seconds to 1 millisecond, which is this, that means no averaging. That means that each sample would be presented on the screen as it is. Then the noise would be, huge, right? You wouldn't be able to see anything because the signal would go up and down and up and down. The interesting thing is, what's the value that this signal varies around? And to do that, you need to do averaging. Now, I could just choose to do more averaging, and all of these blue dots would fall in line. But I chose to choose a midpoint, right?
Okay, Fugs.
Yeah, we know you.
Is this graph, Fugs? Is this your graph that you've arranged all this data in, or is that just a screenshot of Noodle's work?
Noodle, as in Bob?
Yeah.
No, this is something I made.
Okay, so you crunch the data and then put it into that graph format.
Yes. So based on if you saw the links that Bob published yesterday,
no, I haven't.
Based on that data, I crunch it, and out comes this.
Okay.
If anybody's looked at precise measuring equipment, you'll find that there's a lot of noise that has to be contended with.
Right, and it's also clear from, if you look at it without averaging, that there, in several of the datasets, he's handling the gyro itself. He's moving it around or flipping it around or nudging it, and this creates excursions in the data because the gyro is being rotated. And so here it becomes a trade-off between how smooth do I want the graphs to be able to see the steady state level, and how much data do I want to lose, because all of these movements of the gyro, this handling, if I have long averaging, well, then each point in this graph would then more easily be disturbed by this handling.
I mean, ultimately, I wonder what the result would be if we averaged over 24 hours.
Well, it isn't necessarily good, because, like, if you look at the gyro specifications, now the full specification for this gyro isn't public. You only have this table of values that you posted earlier, I think.
Right.
But for any gyro like this, you will if you don't average, right? You just look at each sample or a very few amount of samples and average them. Then you will have a certain amount of noise, and the more you average, the noise will go down and go down and go down. But this only works up to a certain point, and if you average further, then the noise will start to add up again, and so you'll get worse and worse and worse averages.
Let me ask a question about the gyro. I don't know how much you know about these gyros physically, but if it's taking millisecond averages, I would think that walking through the room would jostle the device, and you would get outliers just based upon the physical mechanical motion of the gyro. Is that true?
I don't know. I would suspect that vibrations, like in the table, let's say he has a computer on the table next to this gyro that's sitting on the table, it could influence it, but it doesn't have to. Like ideally, the noise would cancel itself out because you're averaging over a certain time period. But
So
there
all
could
these
also be
measurements-
noise that doesn't average out.
So all these measurements weren't taken in the same place then? You took some measurements, moved the machine, took some more measurements, right?
I walked into the room, put some book on the table.
Yeah, and it also looks like he handled the gyro during each measurement. That's possible.
How would you be able to detect that?
Well, it looks like excursions that you would expect from it being handled, like spikes.
Okay.
Like
So you're just guessing that he handled it.
Well, the bits where it's
well,
all wild.
Yeah, I mean, since the gyro is used to measure rotation,
Whoa.
right?
It's measuring. It's also
it is
measuring-
working at that.
It's also temperature dependent. What else is it dependent on?
Well, yeah, handling, for instance, right?
Not just rotation,
if you,
also temperature.
If you move the gyro around, you do expect it to give a reading of that. But I mean, I don't mind if you ask Bob for like a transcript of when exactly he did what to each of the logs, like what he
won't
did
get
with the
that.
gyro, if he made notes of that. But I don't think he did.
No. You won't get that.
Does anyone know where the actual experiment was conducted?
Did you not hear us?
I don't.
One of the locations.
Right.
At least that's where he said he took it.
Well, Jeremy Merle. Now that we've got one of the data guys in, any more questions?
Yeah, when I
Right.
came into the room, I was told that when I came into the room this morning, I was told that, the highest we got was 16.5. Yeah, I'm looking at the graph and I'm seeing 17, 18, 19, all the way up to 20.
I was
Instantaneous noise measurements.
Okay, that's one anomaly. But and good on you, Jeremy.
That's my
for
big
spotting
question,
that.
Queen, that no
Yeah.
one will answer and everyone keeps
I
trying
mean,
to
I
distract
guess it
from. Why did you
depends.
guys?
I think various people have averaged it out, and it depends what they averaged, right?
Here you go.
Alright, so
Here you go.
we'll say you guys didn't lie to me first thing this morning. That's fine. All right.
Here you go, Jeremy, there in the chat. That's one of the data sets there. Okay, it's got
Looking at a
11
data set.
measurements. It's got 11 measurements on it. Okay.
Well, I'm looking at one with a lot more than 11. So
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm giving you one with numbers. All right.
Can I just say to Fogs too, thanks for breaking that down.
Yeah, you've done
Appreciate
a great
that.
job with that, dude.
Sure.
nice work, Fog.
Yeah, that's good.
Nice work. So we don't know the stats on this machine, the specs.
Oh, we have a data sheet that's public. I suppose if you're a customer of KVH, they will give you the full one. But you get a
they
good
will give
idea
you the
of
full.
the specs for what's already
Okay.
available.
You have to
Now we're
email the
cooking.
company,
Do we know the
Jeremy,
good-
if you want the full spec sheet manual. You have to email the company.
All right. So do we have the do we know the best temperature range that this machine's supposed to work in, or?
It's not just about the temperature range. Like, sure, the temperature does affect it, but also
think-
changes in temperature, like rapid changes in temperature.
I think the
Nice.
operating temperature was minus 40 to plus 75 Celsius.
Yes.
Okay, so this temperature thing really isn't an issue since all these temperatures look like it was in that range.
No, you have to remember
easily.
that they don't specify the performance of the sensor over that range. That just means that it will output data. So
yeah,
in the
we need to know the
specifications,
accuracy.
Yeah, in the specifications, they give certain parameters and the temperatures for which those parameters apply.
So we don't know the optimal working temperature conditions for this device. Then is that what we're saying?
Not unless Bob maybe finds a full data sheet.
Yeah, unless he's got the full work manual for it, we can't get that.
I saw a spec of plus or minus 2 degrees at 25C. That's all. It didn't give any other information where I saw that. And more importantly, can you how is your name intended to be pronounced, Bug?
Some say Fugix. That's fine.
Or Fugst.
Fugix?
Yeah. Fugix. Fugst.
And that's your preference?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, Gem's data guy.
Okay, Fugix. So all you fug sayers out there, shut the fuck up and call him Fugix. Thank you.
Hey, Jeremy.
What, Brenda?
Yeah. So the upshot is 0.7 of a degree accuracy. Does that seem pretty accurate to you?
0.7 of a degree.
That's what I heard cited as the average.
All right. Well, before we get into something else, let me address what Curve said about the temperature. I'm very concerned about this temperature thing. Curve said it was, would you say 25 or 27 or something, plus or minus 1 or 2 degrees?
Plus or minus 2 degrees at 25C. That was all that I saw.
So that's when we'd expect to get the most accurate readings. All right. Those are the
possibly.
Those are the ones where we're getting 17, 18s, 19s, up to the 20s a lot. Wow. Okay.
And that was degrees per hour.
Yeah.
Not an individual millisecond reading or anything, as far as I could tell.
And you do remember that
it's usually
he said
it's usually particular that the bias offset, it refers to the bias that's measured at a certain averaging time. So they don't publish what the appropriate averaging time would be for this. That's something you would find in the full datasheet. But at some optimal averaging time, that would be the best performance you could get.
So this isn't conclusive at all for anything. I mean, this kind of fucks you guys.
No, because
You seem to be worried about deviation.
Go ahead.
And when did it yield anything near zero for your flat Earth?
I mean, we got 16, 17, 18, 19, all the way up to 20.
Right. Actually, you see zero. You're deviating by at least 13 at the worst case from zero at all times.
Right. If the data set was such that it was more stable for longer, like there wasn't signs of it, flipping around the sensor or doing stuff with it, then it would be easy to test different averaging times and then just find the one where the measurements are the most stable. Right? You could do that, but because there are these disturbances, averaging over longer and longer times doesn't really increase, the accuracy of what you're measuring.
Yeah. So if this thing was just measuring rotation, right, we'd get a pretty steady reading from this machine. Or no, this machine's not accurate like that to give us a steady reading, like a tape measure or something.
If it was stable,
like when I do
it was
tape
kept
measure,
stable. If you clamped it to your table and just left it there for long enough, or if you knew how long based on the datasheet, then you could get the full performance of this, and that would be, then you would know it is within plus minus 2. But what we now know, because we're not sure of exactly how good it is, we know its accuracy is worse than 2, which means that the variations we see are likely within the expected accuracy of the sensor.
So because this gyro was all over the place, saying the accuracy sucks, or maybe there's other factors dependent on the measurement and not just rotation.
Yeah, like how still it was when it was tested. Like that's one obvious error source.
And we think some of these data points are Bob or somebody, maybe not him specifically, but somebody's actually touching the machine, or it's vibrating or something. There's some kind of movement going on with the machine.
Yeah, it could be, or just bumping into the table where it's mounted, or like, yeah. The point is, because those events are there, we cannot figure out the performance to like the limits of the sensor itself because of those disturbances.
Were they inside or outside? Were they exposed to the elements?
I think they were outside. I mean, he said they did it up 2 mountains, so.
Yeah, I mean that Guanella Pass or whatever. I don't. Maybe he's got a vacation home there. I don't
Pikes
know.
Peak
But
was the other one, so I think they were. I don't know. I don't know exactly what they did, but I'm guessing they took it out the back of a car and stuck it on a table or something with a laptop next to it.
sitting on the hood of a truck, getting blown around by the wind. Who knows?
Normally, it would be obvious if there's like frequencies and nudges into it. Like you'll be able to read the displacement of it.
Yeah, but you can
It
see that
probably
at one
went
end of
through
the
some
graph.
pretty big temperature changes as well. If it went from being
Yeah.
in a car to not in a car.
Well,
or-
rather than speculate, why don't we just look at the video of this?
There's a video?
Is there a video?
Rhetorical.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No.
You think that,
No
you think that
video.
twat would record that?
No,
Well, he said he did, right? Because Jeremy asked him that specifically, right?
You're kidding.
Is that true, Jeremy? I'm pretty sure
What?
you did. You
What-
asked
what did
him
I
if
do?
he'd got if it was videoed, right?
Maybe last time we talked. I don't.
Yeah, I
The
think
time
on the-
before last or something.
Yeah, that time.
Nick's in the chat
He
saying
said-
that he thinks Bob said he did record it last night. He's
I
pretty sure.
think I vaguely remember that from last night, but I,
Well, fuck. Jeremy, lean on him and annoy the video out of him.
Is that what you guys think? I peer pressured him into giving me this data right
Yeah,
here?
well, you're the data miner, dude. You better get some
what
crypto
Brandon's
out of
saying.
this.
Well, all I know is I look at that data set and it's the average is right at 15 degrees an hour. The Earth's
I look at the
rotating.
data set. Here's what I see when I look at the data set. I see that it's not just measuring rotation. There's a lot of other factors at play, like temperature and maybe other things that we don't even know about.
You think it's measuring
It's-
temperature?
It's in
Temperature
the
is
graph.
definitely affecting Brenda. Temperature,
Here, I'll
temperature is
post them.
definitely
I'll
affecting
post them
Brenda.
again,
Temperature,
Jeremy.
Yeah.
Brenda. Temperature is definitely affecting the outcome
Yes.
of this measurement. Yeah,
But is that a fair statement to say it's measuring temperature?
it's this measurement is dependent on the temperature.
Here,
It's
Jeremy.
affected by.
It's
Read the
affected by the
top one.
temperature. Yeah, so it's not just measuring rotation. it's
Jeremy,
measuring,
what's the top
it's
one?
also
Can-
measuring
can you-
something. What we
can
think
you
is
tell-
rotation.
Jeremy, can you
I don't
tell
need a
what
minute.
temperature it is by looking at the data?
Yeah,
Where are the
can.
measurements of the temperature in the
That's
data?
wrong.
it says temperature degrees, and then it's all over from 25, from anywhere from 20 something to 30 something.
Where is that in there? I haven't looked at it.
It's at
This
the
thing's
bottom.
got
It's
a,
on the bottom of the thing,
thermometer in it? This is
No,
measuring
don't
got
be silly.
the
It's
temperature
measuring
at the time of
temperature,
each
Jeremy.
reading.
Yeah, it's got temperature in it. You don't see
Where?
the graph?
Where?
I'm not a numbers guy. I don't look at this. I don't crunch.
Shallow Earther just posted it at 9:31 a.m. Okay, it's the top one. It has
Not
temperature
telling
on
me
the bottom.
anything.
It has temperature at the bottom and degrees per hour on the left side.
Apparently Jeremy's data guy now. Cool.
See it,
Hey,
Kurt?
why would temperature impact something that measures physical rotation? Doesn't make any sense.
So it's got a thermometer in it. It's not the gyro
Temperature's
measuring the
not
temperature.
what-
That was my point. I mean, you can put anything in there you want to measure it.
These measurements are clearly being affected by the temperature. I mean, look at it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
so
pretty
what
interesting,
is that?
right?
Does anybody know the
So-
mechanism by
So the temperature
how that
accounts
happens?
for the differences from 15 degrees per hour.
That was our point to you, Jeremy. Temperature affects the measurement.
Nick has an answer to
How?
your question, Brandon.
yeah,
go
in
ahead.
the design of these things, there's usually electrical components like diodes, and when they heat up, the light that they emit, the wavelength quite significantly changes sometimes. So it's pretty much just due to the functionality
Wait,
of the diode.
sorry, say that last part one more time.
These devices often have things called diodes in them which emit light, and if these things get hot, the temperature or the energy of the light they emit changes. So that's one reason.
So this thing is impacted by the ambient environment, right?
Well, if the ambient environment is kept stable, then that minimizes the error. But if you have if the temperature is changing significantly over the course of the recording, then that's what causes many of these issues.
Hold on.
Or maybe
No,
the extraction or
hold on a
contraction
minute.
of the
No,
metal
if the
inside as
ambient
well.
environment is held stable, then the result is held stable. It's still impacted by the ambient environment. There's just not fluctuations because the ambient environment isn't fluctuating, right?
Yeah, so if the temperature is changing, then the data is more spread out. But if it's fixed at a different temperature, then they're concentrated around a different point.
Exactly. So it is impacted by the ambient environment. Thank you.
Jeremy, it's like,
I mean,
oh,
this
hey,
isn't
computers
news.
work except when you're in a
Thank you.
closet. And
Not acting like
Brandon
it's
says
news. I
that
was
as
just
if he's
clarifying.
just done a closing argument. Thank you.
I
No,
know.
Brandon,
I was
you don't
taking
even
it for
you don't
answering
even
my
understand
question,
it.
Queen. Shut the fuck up.
You don't even understand it. Thank you. Like you've just
I
won.
don't
Thank
understand
you.
it. I don't understand
What an
it.
idiot.
What don't I understand, Queen?
All of it. All of
smart
it.
lady? What don't I understand?
All
I
of
don't
it.
understand all of it.
You and
Is that
Jeremy
what
were
go
sitting
around,
here thinking
go
that
around
the
thinking all the
outside
people you
temperature
deal with
had
don't
something to
understand
do with
what you're
it.
talking about? I'm so much
Thank
smarter
you.
than everybody. I'm Queen. No one
Thank
understands
you.
what I understand.
Thank you.
I have to go around all day, every day, telling everybody that they don't understand because I'm so smart.
I mean, first of all, you don't know how the gyroscope works. Second of all, you don't know how to analyze the data. And third of all, you didn't even understand what Nick told you.
All right, okay. 1 minute, if I can interrupt, please. I've just uploaded the 33-page manual for the gyro. Hope that's the right one. If someone can check it out.
DSP 1760 or some shit.
Yeah, that's the one. Made by KVM, I think it is.
So, are there any?
KVH.
Is there any news in the manual as well for luminiferous ether detection?
Yes. Yes, that's on page 34 of the 30.
Page 34, yeah.
It's on page 34, Mel.
It's for
Does it mention that opening day is tomorrow?
See, Bob's
That should be in the manual.
Bob's back door get out of jail card is that he detected the sun moving, not the earth.
Why are you
You know that,
considering
right?
backdoor, Merle?
What's that?
Why are you considering Bob's backdoor? What thoughts are going through your
Hold
mind?
on. I think they're telling me now the temperature doesn't matter in the text chat. They're saying no, the temperature doesn't matter.
Yeah, you and Brandon didn't understand Nick's explanation.
So Jeremy,
does the temp matter?
when
Shut up, Nolan.
Jeremy gets the floor, that's cool. Like we've got to be on like suspense, kind of like it's like an Alfred Hitchcock movie waiting for a bird to fly across or something. But like when I bring up what Bob Noodle actually states, which is that the gyroscope reading detected the luminiferous ether, which is basically the movement of the sun.
That's not the
he
same.
comes in over the top of me and I get trolled. I'm just wondering what kind of gatekeeping operation is going on here?
We can move on and we can listen to Jeremy. Jeremy, what you were saying, please.
that it measures the sun's movement.
Merle, if you have something important to say, I mean, go ahead.
All right.
Hey, Jeremy.
That's the second time you've made out that I've got nothing to say.
Yes, you have nothing to say.
No, I said if you
Mel,
have
Jeremy was waiting to ask a few questions, Mel, but if you've got some now, please go ahead.
Fuck's sake.
Fuck's sake.
Go ahead, Mel.
Go ahead.
I don't hear anything.
Good question.
Hey, Jeremy. So the upshot that I see.
No, we're letting Merle go. Merle, go ahead.
Well, he's not saying anything, so I'm talking. So
We just cleared the whole floor for him. So
yeah, but he didn't say anything.
He will.
Yeah, well, just maybe like go take a shit or something, Brenda, and come back. So with this luminiferous ether,
attitude.
have you guys considered that Bob might be telling the truth?
Evidence of that.
Sure, but
How
he
does-
didn't
how
provide
does-
any evidence for it.
Oh, I
so
think-
How does Bob know that that's what's going on?
Merle, I think he is telling the truth. He measured 15 degrees an hour rotation.
Super chat's
So
in,
what-
Jim.
Yeah, just because Bob interpreted it incorrectly doesn't mean he didn't actually make an accurate measurement of the rotation of the Earth.
Yeah, from what I see, Merle and Jeremy, is I see 15 degrees an hour rotation and a small amount of noise.
Okay.
That's
You
what
know
I
what I'd like to hear, since we don't understand. The Queen said, Jeremy doesn't understand, Brandon doesn't understand, Merle and I'm sure she meant me as well. Can Queen give us a little rundown on how this gyroscope works?
I'm not the gyro guy. Nick explained it to you. I'm not the gyro guy, see.
I don't think it
So you
matters.
have no clue how it works, right, Queen?
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I don't think you need to know how the gyroscope works in order to actually rebuttal what you're saying. She basically specifically mentioned about what Nick told about the temperature affecting the readings of the light spectrum, or like the right frequencies. Where in fact, if there's a different in temperature and it's consistent, the reading will be the same, but it will be in a different point, and that's it. It won't affect the results at the end.
Understood, but I just want to make clear the lady that was insulting everybody has no clue how this said instrument works. I just wanted to.
I don't think it matters.
That would
What does it matter?
Well,
Well,
SC, to be
making
fair, you
yourself look
insult
desperate.
everybody. You insult everybody, and you got no idea how the Earth works.
Yeah,
Right.
That is a computer.
Thank
that is
you.
a computer work.
You're welcome. Anytime. I'll be here for you.
You're welcome.
Don't worry.
So,
Again, you don't need to know how a car works to know that it can't fly.
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
and what we have is Bob Nodell confirming the Earth rotates 15 degrees an hour, and
No.
it shows that.
No.
Yes,
No.
yes, it does.
He's saying that it's the luminiferous ether. So
He's
It-
more.
listen.
Doesn't measure the ether.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It doesn't measure the ether, Merle.
Let Merle finish, please.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Merle.
Okay, I appreciate that. Child of Satan. So
Oh, you're going to go into that? Absolutely, child of Satan. I want one of those shoes.
Here we go. Here we go.
So no, so it's a running joke between Brenda and myself. Listen
No,
to my
no.
feelings. Yes, it is. You were there. You heard it said. You saw me get server muted and banned.
Speak with the purpose, Merle.
So
Speak
anyway,
with the purpose.
Stay on point,
Anyway,
Merle. Come on.
I'm just saying
on.
that we're
Get
pretty
focused,
sure
Mel.
the Earth isn't moving. I'm not going to be cocky. So it's what's moving that's important.
Yeah, the Earth. That's what it shows. 15 degrees.
Okay. Okay, that's cognitive bias.
How?
It's an ether tornado.
'Cause you're already making a predetermined conclusion.
No, I'm making a conclusion based on the data. The data shows 15 degrees an hour. There is some noise, and you guys are fixating on noise, but noise is irrelevant. It clearly shows the running average shows 15 degrees an hour.
Sure, if it was just my bad, Merle, are you still going?
No,
with
you're
Brenda?
fine. You go jump in.
All right.
How do we
So-
explore Merle's
All right.
proposition?
So it's clearly not just measuring rotation because temperature is affecting the measurement of rotation on this. So it's
That's just noise, Jeremy.
temperature is noise.
That's
I know you think dog bones are clocks and
Yeah, they
all
are.
kinds of weird
They are.
shit, but
They are.
Yeah, just
so,
noise,
so
Jeremy.
temperature is noise.
Jeremy. Yeah, no. All instruments, Jeremy, all instruments have a certain amount of noise associated with them.
So
Right
if
now
we
we're
put
talking about
earmuffs on, we can eliminate this noise?
No, you can't. Earmuffs don't eliminate all noise, do they? Just most of it.
Okay, so this thing's definitely the rotation it's claimed to be measuring is definitely being affected by temperature, correct?
No.
Precision of measurement changes
The
with
temperature affects the instrument, but it
The
doesn't
temperature-
affect
yeah,
what the
the-
instrument's measuring.
The temperature. I don't know why you're trying to reword. Should I say? But the temperature is
Because you're
affecting
saying
the
that temperature
measurement.
affects the rotation, and it
This is
doesn't.
the
Temperature affects
time.
the
All right.
instrument that measures the rotation.
I've been trying to get through the flat earthers all morning, and now you're going to do this to me? Is the rotational measurement, air quotes, being affected by the temperature?
The instrument, like every instrument, can
It's
be
yes or
affected.
no,
by
bro.
That would be a yes.
So yes.
Jeremy.
Is that a
A
yes?
solid yes.
Yeah,
Snap-
the
why-
instrument,
why-
like
why
all
is it
instruments,
talking to Snap?
precision changes with temperature. Thank you.
Why?
So when he took it up on the
One of the
mountain,
smart Globers.
is there a
this-
different temperature on top of the mountain as opposed to the bottom of the mountain? And
There
how
could be.
did that affect the measurement?
Not significantly, I would say.
2 degrees.
You
looks
would
like-
say.
Usually,
like about
usually instruments operate more efficiently in colder temperatures. It's hotter temperatures that instruments tend to not operate at as good as normal.
So you see the problems here, guys.
No, there's no problem.
There's absolutely no problem. No, only in your head is there a problem.
I see 15 degrees an hour. That's what I see.
I see an Earth supposedly spinning at a constant rate, but I see measurements that are all different. That's what I see.
Because instruments have noise.
Because depending on the temperature, stop saying noise. Listen.
That's what it
depending on
is.
the
It's
temperature-
noise.
Depending on the temperature, this will give you different readings. Of
Yeah,
rotation,
it's noise.
supposed
It's called
rotation.
noise. It's just
That's why we
noise.
take the average of it, Jeremy. That's why we
And
take into
Jeremy-
account the slight variation from the temperature from the instrument reading due to the fact that instruments aren't perfect.
I mean, honestly,
So
I'm
clearly
kind
they're
of
built
surprised.
different.
And they're
I'm
built
kind
to
of
a
surprised
specific-
from the Flurfers that they actually accepted that the Earth is rotating, but now they're arguing how is the ratio, what's the magnitude of the rotation. So it's a
That
good
was
step
important.
forward. So they agree
That
that the
was
Earth is
important,
rotating. Now they're arguing how fast it's rotating, which is fine. I'm happy with it.
That was important.
Welcome to Globe.
No, you're
Welcome to Globe.
delusional.
It's
You're
going to be
delusional.
snacks.
Like
Again, and we'll
instruments
get to talk
operate within
again
a
for
certain,
how many minutes?
area of acceptability, and if they fall outside that range, then you toss the instrument and you use another one. And you can use multiple.
So I should be able to buy a
corroborate
gyroscope,
your readings.
spin it up.
They
Hold
act
on,
like
hold
there's
on.
only one gyroscope in the world, and the temperature affects this, and that is what we go off of. There's millions of gyroscopes that you can compare the data with, and they'll all come out to the same
Perfect. So I
conclusion.
should
So
be able
saying
to
that
go buy one
temperature widely
tomorrow.
affects it is just silly.
Okay, listen, I'll make you a deal. I'll go buy one tomorrow and I'll do the experiment. How's that? Not one of those $20,000 ones, but I'll buy a gyroscope, a nice accurate
You
one.
go to a
and
toy
I'll
shop
do
and
it.
buy a toy.
So I should get 15 degrees drift, right?
I mean, I would
Why don't you
assume.
just ask to borrow Bob's?
I mean, here's a pro tip: your phone has one in it, so you don't have to go out and buy one.
So I can do this
Oh,
with my
wow.
phone? I can spin my phone? Is that what you're
So
saying?
the precision of that is not 15 degrees per hour.
People
So
have
if I
shown,
buy-
people
hold
have
on, hold
shown
on.
you how to do it with the phone. You can make.
Hold on. This is
Yeah.
a big day now here. This is a huge day for you guys. You got a solid win here, right? So I should be able to go outside now, throw something up in the air, and I should see deviation, right?
No, that's no.
You think
Just
you
so
should
wrong.
deviation if you throw something up in the air?
Why would it
Well,
deviate?
you tell me.
Why would it deviate? You said it should.
Doing an experiment? Are you throwing it directly 90 degrees up from your point of view, or are you just tossing a ball and
Yeah, I'm at the equator. I'm at the equator traveling at 1,037, and I have a nice, powerful machine, and I can throw a ball, let's say, I don't know, 5,000 feet in the air. What should happen to that ball?
It's the motion of
What's
the
that gonna have? Like a 10-second hang time?
The wind's going to blow it all over the place.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you're making a very controlled environment for this experiment. Maybe you should.
Well,
think
we're gonna
about
find
Making a
a
straw man
nice,
of the,
calm
experiment.
day. We're gonna measure the wind. We're gonna take all that into account, right?
Okay, let's do this. They have a test like this. It's a drop tower. It's got a vacuum in it. They drop it and they show deviation when it drops. Yes.
Is that the tower where they get elements falling at different rates?
So hold on a
No,
second.
I think it's one of the
Whoa,
same.
whoa, 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 guys. So now, if I'm on a plane traveling at 1,000 miles an hour, and somehow we manage to open the window without killing everybody, and I throw a ball out, what do you think is going to happen to that ball if we're traveling at 1,000 miles an hour?
We're traveling 1,000 miles per hour in relation to the Earth, and that's 2,000 in relation to space if you're going with the rotation. So
Conserve momentum, and then
so you're saying that the atmosphere is spinning along with the Earth, right?
yeah, because of friction. Yeah, fluid dynamics. Yeah.
There you go. So there goes your Coriolis. Game over.
No, it doesn't.
Coriolis. You don't
That's not
understand.
You just turned a big day into a disaster. Wow.
No one
Time
can
you're
say
gonna
that
say you don't
Coriolis.
understand today.
Well, you don't.
Who's surprised?
Especially when everyone
I
else.
understand that temperature is affecting the readings of the rotation on this gyro.
As it should, as all the equipment has tolerances.
Right, so it's measuring
When-
rotation.
when you
When you bring an
Water
instrument
levels
out of a specification, it does funny things. Big surprise.
Hey, you're breaking the
this
speed of
machine's
sound
measuring-
there, Bubba. At the equator, you're breaking the speed
My
of sound.
computer won't turn on and operate
so this
properly when it's in a closet at 110 degrees. I wonder why.
So this
Something-
machine's measuring rotation and temperature correlation.
I saw
As the Earth is
Yeah, and when you bring a device out of specification, it does funny things. This is not news.
something in the manual for our equipment guys. It was a bias, and it said a 2-degree bias for temperatures. So the thing does have an internal thermometer, and I was wondering if that bias is used to correct for temperature. And can that bias be turned off? Did Bob Newell turn it off?
How did they account for time dilation? The instrument must have dilated when it went higher in the mountain, no? According to your fantasy?
Not
Did they,
what happened.
did they take that into account?
Both legs of the thing will be in the same environment. They'll be relatively the same speed.
But
Yeah,
wait a minute.
regarding the bias,
The gravity
right,
is
the
lower
bias
at-
is something
at
that
higher on the
affects
mountain,
the
no?
bias over a long period of time. So if you do long averaging, then that bias will eventually make your measurement off the mark
Do
of
you
the
see how
actual
ridiculous
measurement.
how many variables there
Now,
are?
if you do a shorter averaging, right? If you do short enough averaging for that bias not to affect your measurement, but you do long enough to average out the high frequency variations, there's a sweet spot there, and that's the optimal place.
What do
to
you mean by
measure with.
averaging out the high fucking
The sweet
radiation?
spot,
What radiation?
like the Lagrange point.
What I mean is when you have a signal that's varying a lot, like with noise. Yes, the signal goes up and down and up and down, but it does so around a value, which is the measurement that we're interested in. And so if you just take an average over a certain amount of time, then those highs and lows will average out. Like they will cancel each other. The highs
there
will cancel the
shouldn't be an
lows, and you're
average.
left
You
with
gotta-
the
I'm familiar
you're left
with-
with the average value.
I'm
You've got a
familiar with how
high
the gyroscope
precision here.
works.
I
But
don't get that.
But I was wondering, normally like laser gyroscopes, ring gyroscopes have like collaborate like options for them where they basically can let them be and they will do it by themselves and they can give you like the results even like with a different temperature. You can just give them be for a bit. Like it wouldn't really change the data dramatically at all.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything as far as I've seen whether it calibrates for temperature. It might, I don't know. But yeah, for high-end gyros, then sure, that would be a feature you want. You would want it to have a mechanism to stabilize its temperature, like a heater with a thermostat internally that keeps it at the same temperature. But you would also want to be able to measure the temperature and compensate for that as it works.
Oven controlled. I've had a lot of things that have ovens in them that have to warm up to get to operating temperature that's way beyond environmental, so it can keep it always within a certain range.
Yeah, exactly.
But not all devices have those. Some of them just deal with the environment and you deal with the noise. You accept that, hey, I know that it's hot out and my readings will be off.
I mean, to be frank as well, like someone posted a picture of like the apparent temperature, like if it was between 15, 20, something like this, it wouldn't really affect that much.
So every gyroscope on Earth should be able to show this spinning, right? Rotating of the Earth?
No.
A sensitive enough gyroscope, yes.
So I can go buy that precision gyroscope that they sell online. It's about 200 pounds.
No, you have to find
And that should be
precision
able to show the precision, right?
No, you have to find out what the precision is. If it's not capable of measuring such small numbers, then no, you're not going to be able to see
So
it.
buy one, or you can accept that other people have already done it.
So we need a $10,000 gyroscope to show this motion.
No,
correct?
You don't need to.
There's the middle ground.
Bro, Bobs.
If you want accurate readings, you gotta shell out the cheddar, baby.
You don't need to buy one. Go to your fucking local university, physical lab, make an appointment, and they'll give you one. Or they will make an appointment and you will see one.
Tell them that universities are like the fucking plague to flat earthers. They're not.
I see. It's Satan's place, I guess.
What you could do is a large pot of paint and a very long piece of string, and then something to hang it from that's relatively high, and then you could use that. Cost you probably 10 quid.
The pendulum.
You mean a
people-
plumb line?
Here's what you
just
can do.
describe a plumb line?
Here's what you can do. You can set up a decent pendulum and use it to measure your latitude on Earth.
Or a crazy thing, you could just not be the most ignorant, braggadocious douchebag on this server, SC, and actually go out and get an education. Just throwing that out there.
Listen, you scumbag. You think that's going to work with me?
Sorry, SE. Like, don't.
Education isn't going to work with you. Nothing's working with you anymore.
I mean, I know he comes back from work tired and busy, man, and shit like this. So
Shut
he
up,
comes and
Blast
sit on
Bites.
Discord
Go
and
stick
spend
the
some
globe
time
where the sun
spreading
That's
this
what I'm
information.
sitting on a chair right now. I didn't go to work. I didn't come back from work. I'm sitting on a chair right now making money. Ass wipe.
Then you must have enough time to actually go and study as well. Then go do it then.
It's none of your business.
Making money as in the government.
So,
He made it our business when he came in here.
was.
Yeah, mate.
So
It's
now,
not too
when they're
often.
fucked up, they bring up the personal stuff. See how it works, Merle?
It's not personal stuff. You're making money while you're
Dude,
sitting.
I've got
That's
you
fucking
back to
fantastic.
SE.
Then go study.
I can't hear you, Merle. I can't hear you.
Yep, I've got you back to SE. I just want to say there's not too many times in this, mate. I feel like we're making history, but I almost feel like calling my dad.
There's no
I
history.
almost feel like calling my dad right now. Was like this is sort of the stuff of legend, isn't it, mate?
No, there's no history here.
It's measured every day.
Dad, Merle.
Virus is
Cool
of
dad.
airplanes.
I hate to tell you.
Every day when you align your IRS on an airplane, you're measuring the rotation of the Earth. It's not history.
Spinning.
Today is history. Bob proved that it's an hour.
If your dad was here now, Merle, what would you tell him?
I'd get my dad. I'd hold the mobile phone up to the mic, and I'd get him to tell you himself.
No, I
This
said,
is
what would you
riveting.
tell him?
Your dad will
What
be
would I
asleep
tell-
now, wouldn't he, mate?
Yeah, definitely. My dad knows what's going on in here. I give him little updates every now and again.
So you just when you tell him,
Does he-
I thought you said you're gonna tell him that history was made.
Like, how is he back though? Like, is this like a zombie scenario or a spiritual thing?
Oh, this is I mean, the elders are interested in what the younger generation are talking about and doing with their lives.
Oh, I was assuming your dad was dead. Sorry.
Does he call you a bloody idiot, Merle, for doing this?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Does your
Yeah,
dad
be
call
honest,
you a
Merle.
blithering fool when you do
Me
that?
all the time.
This isn't a younger person thing. This is an older, deeply religious demographic as flat earthers.
Like yourself? You believe in the
No,
heliocentric
I am. I'm a little bit
religion?
older. I'm a little bit older, but Nathan Oakley has talked about the demographics of his audience, which I take to be pretty representative of flat earthers. He says it's a very much an older religious demographic, and I think he's probably correct about that.
Right.
And your
so
point
there's,
is,
there's,
and
there's
your
70,
point is,
there's 70-year-olds. Right. There's 70-year-olds trolling people with soccer accounts in Oakley's chat. Get real.
yeah, so to detect some discrimination in Brenda.
So no, you're not. I'm just relating information, which is that it's not younger crowd. The younger crowd is actually educated. They know things.
So you're saying the younger ones are wiser than the older ones, Brenda?
No,
Patient.
knowledge isn't wisdom.
Do you realize who some of the flat earthers, brightest people on Earth?
Who would
Yeah,
that be?
flat
Did you name
earthers have contributed to society or science. Name one.
You have to be the brightest.
I don't think you guys know whose game you're in.
Right. Well, what evidence do you have that they're the brightest, Merle? I mean, just
name one flat earth inventor.
Who's the
Flat
brightest?
Earth?
Who's the
Flat
brightest?
Earth, the retards lured all you in this room, and you made a server dedicated to it.
I'm still not sure how you're defining what is your metric for brightest.
Well, it's just a conspiracy theory on the internet, right, Murdoch?
No, I'm asking. You said that some of the flat earthers are the brightest, and I was wondering what metric you were using to define their brightness. These mythical bright flat earthers you speak of.
I mean, there's always a gold medal winner in the Special Olympics, right?
Well, I heard your queen is pretty old.
That's not a question. Which flat earther would you say is the brightest, and what would you use as a metric to determine that?
Everybody has their speciality. But I heard the queen is quite old. Why don't you discriminate against the queen?
I know who I'd pick.
Go.
Listen. Flat Earth.
What queen? Me or the real queen? Who's SE talking to?
You're the queen here.
No, I don't.
You are the real queen, aren't you, Queen?
SE. Well,
I heard you're old.
The royal queen.
It's nothing bad. I'm just saying because Brenda was discriminating against old people.
No, there's people here who are on my real Instagram, SE. I've been doxxed many a time. I mean, you guys have seen my photo. Leave it at that.
I haven't. I haven't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you were the one that had that thing with Sleeping Warrior and Ranty or something a while ago. Something with the super chats or something, right?
Don't look at Queen's photo, SC. You'll turn into a pillar of salt.
I don't discriminate against old people. No problem. We're all gonna get old.
Well, you invoked my name, SE, so I'm here. Hello.
Queen, were you the one that had that thing with? Queen, were you the one that had that thing with Ranty or Sleeping Warrior or something?
Oh, yeah, where he doxed this poor lady and put out this fat old Dalmatian lady wearing a Dalmatian coat. And I had to go on video to show who I was to Chemo. Yes, that was me. But plenty of people have got my photos. Plenty of people are on my real-life socials from here. Space Pope will post it, I'm sure. He normally does. Everyone's seen my picture, you see, so... just because you haven't, well, again, you're out of the loop.
Hey, I'm sorry if you're a young babe. Hey, you're a young babe. I thought you were an old hag from what they were saying. But hey, my bad.
Is that an apology?
Hey, if you want to take it that way.
I think we need substantiation on this positive claim.
But is this said picture true? It could be somebody else. How do we know it's the actual queen?
I see where percentage is going with this.
Listen, let's get down to brass tacks here. Do you have a machine that just measures rotation and not temperature correlated along with it?
Yeah, we do. It's called a fiber optic gyroscope.
No, that clearly has temperature directly correlated with the measurements of the supposed rotation.
No, it has temperature sensors inside of the housing, I guess. Apparently, according to the data.
Yeah, you guess. You don't know. That's why I'm asking somebody that knows what's going on and doesn't think dog bones are clocks. We have a device that actually measures.
You need to ask
them. Why are like 3 people talking through me right now?
Once again, Jeremy, when you bring an instrument out of specification, it does strange things. This is not news.
Hey, Jeremy, where can I buy a freezer that doesn't measure
They're
temperature?
spiraling. percentage or this is what it sounds like when people start spiraling.
Jeremy, if I take
Where can I
if
buy
I
a
take a,
freezer that doesn't measure temperature?
Let me
I
know
need-
when you guys are done spiraling. I'll be back.
Yeah.
yeah, so if I take
Yeah, you don't have to
water
come
level
back, Jeremy.
outside-
That's
I'm
fine.
not running away. Just you guys are like out of control. Like just pick your smart.
If I take the water level outside over here in Finland in the winter, it's gonna freeze, so it doesn't work.
Measure temperature.
You're even talking
What
over
is
each
wrong
other.
with
They're
you guys?
spiraling.
Like how
They're
hard is it to
they're
be civilized
spiraling.
and let someone talk and then let them, then talk after them? It's not hard.
Whoa,
It's just
whoa,
me.
whoa. It's fucking snack.
Back off from the microphone percentage. Back off.
You got me.
Now, do we have
Jeremy,
a
yes.
machine that just measured?
Jeremy, do we have a freezer that only keeps things cold?
Go, Jeremy. Ask your question.
Do we have a machine that will just measure the supposed rotation and not be directly correlated with temperature?
It's not directly correlated. It's affected by.
It's directly correlated with the temperature or affected,
You're-
whatever. We want a machine that's just affected.
Well, we have to know how much the temperature affects it and which way and stuff like that. We can start to adjust for that.
So that's a no. Is that
The
a no?
answer
or
is
a
no, Jeremy. There's no machine that directly measures the rotation of the Earth.
Jeremy, there's
So
no
what you want to
machine
do
that's
is you
not
want to
affected by
introduce yet
temperature.
another variable, like I keep reminding you that science does not do. You're supposed to remove variables, jackass.
Yeah,
Give
can
me
we
a-
remove this
isolate
temperature
temperature and
variable?
gonna
That's
give
what I'm
you a
asking for,
pro tip here,
jackass.
Jeremy.
Yeah, so run it at a fixed
How many
temperature.
people are
So
saying
run it
talk
at a
over me every
fixed.
fucking
So
time?
run it at a
You
fixed
guys
temp.
are spiraling.
So run
You
it
guys
at
are
a
legit
fixed.
spiral. Look at this guy.
Would
I'm gonna
you
make him
stop
repeat the same
talking?
sentence.
So what you're
I'm gonna make him
supposed.
repeat his
So
same
what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to run it at a fixed temperature, not vary it.
Okay, so you run it at a fixed temperature. How do you know the drift that you're getting isn't caused by that fixed temperature? It's a fixed drift, fixed temperature. How do you know they're not
Right.
caused by that?
16 degrees Celsius makes 15 degrees per hour. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because there's no correlation between temperature and rotation.
why
No,
did I
No, having a fixed variable doesn't remove the variable.
Yeah.
Interrupted, and I'm the one that got muted.
Removing
wrong
the
with you people in
thermometer
here?
from the fucking gyroscope doesn't make it that there is no temperature there.
Explain how temperature makes it rotate.
It doesn't. He's an idiot.
Wait, I'm not
You
saying it
think that
rotates. I'm
because
saying
they
there's
add
drift
a
due to the
thermometer to a
temperature. When you have
gyroscope,
temperature,
somehow
you have.
So when you can measure
these
the
air molecules
rotation by
moving.
so when you can rotate it and measure the difference of how rotation affects the thing separate to temperature, then you know that rotation is what you're measuring, not
Hold up.
temperature.
Okay, you just said explain how the temperature is causing this drift, but you also in the breath before said that temperature is affecting it. So, or like you're arguing against yourself right now.
He didn't
Obviously,
say
there's an
A
that
effect by the
temperature causes
specification
the
for
drift.
an instrument is not something you can just ignore just because.
Is there an effect from the temperature? Yes or no?
Yeah, by bringing the device out of
Fantastic.
specification.
No, it doesn't matter what the specification is. The point is you're bringing you have a temperature and it's causing fluctuation of the thing. If you keep the temperature there, if it's always present, you don't know if the drift is always present from that temperature or not. You have to eliminate it. You can't just
If you put a laptop in an oven, does it stop working?
The troll has a bone. The troll thinks he has a bone.
Percentage. Apply that same
How do
line
you
of
eliminate the
questioning to a
temperature?
water level.
What?
How do you eliminate the temperature percentage?
You can't, obviously. So that's why you guys are at you guys are in between a rock and a hard place to figure out where the
No, no.
demarcation is. Hold up,
No,
to figure
no,
out where
let
the
rock-
demarcation is of drift due to temperature versus drift due to the supposed
Okay,
rotation of
rock and the
Now,
rock
one
and
thing
So you
the hard
measure
place.
how
Let me
rotation.
finish. One thing is certain: we do have temperature.
Fuck's sake.
That is like an undisputed fact. Now, whether or not we have Earth rotation is a question. You guys are trying
So
to
when you
The rock
measure
and the
the
hard
effect,
place is where you're at,
so
mate.
when you measure the effect rotation has on the device, you can verify exactly how it performs with rotation. When you run it at a fixed temperature, you're removing the temperature variable.
What rotation though? You haven't proven rotation. You're
You can spin the
putting the
fucking
cart before the
device,
horse,
you
bro.
dumbass.
The whole point is to prove
Swing
rotation.
the device.
So you can't
Rotate the
say-
device
Yeah.
and measure its effect on it. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the device is standing still, bro. That's the whole point.
dumb
but you
thinking.
can. Oh
Like,
Jesus
how do you
fucking
survive as
God!
an adult like this? You can easily test if a variable actually affects the outcome by removing or keeping it the same. If you think temperature affects the gyroscope, then widely vary the temperature and see if it widely varies your result. If it
does.
doesn't, then it's not the fucking temperature, you moron.
It does affect the result. That's the whole point.
So if you
Not
don't open the
wildly.
gyroscope and you
That's the
only
claim.
alter the temperature, then you should see a difference, right?
So if change the temperature, it changes the result. You leave the temperature alone, it leaves the result alone. Who's to say whether or not that result is from the temperature or not? Just because you leave it alone doesn't mean the temperature is gone.
So it gets hotter and the rotation goes down. So your whole point is shot in the ass anyway.
No, it's not.
Yes.
Who's to say it's a direct relationship versus an inverse relationship? You don't know.
Because the airplanes navigate with those. I mean, you can't be this retarded.
No,
Right. Airplanes navigate. What's your point?
That they know
The thing works. The thing works in terms of
so they
propionate.
know where they're heading.
Hold up. The thing works in terms of when you move the actual gyroscope, it'll show this deviation, right? But when the gyroscope is staying still, there's no question that temperature is affecting it. Now you guys are trying to claim that this Earth rotation is the cause of all these results. That's not the case.
Hey, hang on. Are
Temperature
these
affects
gyros
anything.
calibrated? I haven't read the manual.
I'm looking at the manual right now.
So they're calibrated within a certain temperature range?
Product specification gives an operating temperature range.
Right.
Like me, this
Yeah,
is like me
minus
making. Oh, sorry.
The operating temperature range is 40 below
Minus
Fahrenheit.
40 to plus 75.
Yeah, to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. That's
So
the operating.
temperature is not significant. Temperature won't cause rotation.
Well, it gives the
Right.
bias stability at a constant temperature, bias offset, bias temperature sensitivity, scale factor temperature sensitivity, random walk room temperature sensitivity. It gives all those things, but I don't know enough about this to properly interpret them.
So regardless of temperature, it's still showing a drift.
Yeah, like I mean, it's like they never went to school to know how to account for a variable by keeping it the same to make sure that it's not the cause of what you're looking for. It's like they've never done that, which, oh, surprise, they haven't because they never went to school.
It's just
Okay,
like
you've
me-
got your
me
sound
making
bites
a-
in Nidhug. Some of us are higher educated. Sorry to break it to you.
You're not, trust
Oh,
me.
shut up.
I
you're not.
am.
But if I can make a water level and I can pop it into oven that's 200 degrees Celsius and say, look,
And if you
there's
want
no
to
water
keep
there, it
pushing
doesn't work.
that line,
So,
Nidhug, I'm happy to provide my qualifications.
Yeah, please do.
Where can I send them to you?
Then post it in chat.
Where can I send them to you?
You can DM me.
With on chat. We wanna see it as well, all of us.
Yeah.
I can send you a paper that I'm the president of the United States.
I'll chuck in
No
a
one
dick
believes
pic too,
papers,
Nidhug.
Sure, if you want.
Yep. I thought you'd like that.
Make sure you don't Google
every-
it, okay? Make sure you just go on real.
Every tool you use to measure something is affected by temperature.
Dude, I can't drive 50 miles an hour without it being affected by temperature, apparently.
If you measure something, the fucking measuring stick is affected by temperature. I mean, everything's affected by temperature.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that it's not correct, but
Yeah, my lung
it's just an
capacity
error
is
margin.
affected by temperature.
Yep.
Oh, wait. No, it isn't, because we all learned in school how to account for variables and how to eliminate them to see if they're the cause of an effect. Oh, that's a striking blow against flat earthers, isn't it?
Hey, try counter rotating the gyro at 15 degrees per hour and see what the output is. It should be 0 or close to 0. And
It depends on what the temperature is.
the difference would be the temperature, right?
Depends on what the temperature is, yeah.
Right. That's what you think it is. Okay. All right.
No, not what I think it is. It would definitely be affected by the temperature.
No,
They
it's not
fully
actually.
didn't think of this when
Yes, it
they
would
tested
clearly-
the device, when they made it. Nobody thought of these things. That's not how they worked out, the error margin. That's not how they did that. They just wrote down a few numbers, right? That's how you think research and design and testing goes? That's how you think that goes?
No, I
Do you
clearly
imagine the
think that
problems
oh,
they
I
get,
thought you were done.
Jeremy,
My
and
bad.
everybody
I
else
could have swore
listening?
there was a huge pause
Thanks for
indicating
talking
that
over
you were
me.
done talking.
Thanks for talking over me.
Well, there was a huge pause indicating you were done talking. My bad.
I didn't hear a pause at all.
Literally mid.
There wasn't a. I was mid sentence exactly.
Okay, maybe I cut
You
out.
see,
It seemed like there was a huge pause.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Jeremy, is that for the money they're charging for these devices, the support and customer service stuff they'd have to go through if they were just giving out faulty equipment would just be not even worth the sales that they make on this thing. Okay, these things are precision in nature, they're refined, and they're in competition with other brands. Okay, and if they get their machines into airplanes and other things like that, that's revenue for the company for the rest of its term as a company. So for fuck's sake, you guys haven't thought of the variables that they've already ruled out. Humble yourselves and realize it should read 0 or around 0. It's game over.
Are you done? All right. So clearly this is directly correlated with the temperature, because if you change the temperature, you're going to get a different reading in the gyro.
No, that's not what the specs say.
Well, that's what happens though.
No.
You change the temperature, you get a different rotational reading.
What is the correlation, Jeremy? How much temperature change equals how much rotational difference?
Have you seen the graph?
I want you to tell me, because you're claiming that's what happens.
You can see it in the graph.
Okay, so then you should be able to easily tell me what it is. What's the ratio?
No, I don't have the ratio, but you can clearly see it in the graph that if you change the temperature, you get a different rotational reading.
By how much temperature and how much rotational change?
A little bit.
Like how much?
Like a little bit. I don't know. Go crunch the numbers and get back to us next.
It's your claim. How about you tell me instead of just making shit up?
I didn't make shit up. You can see it in the graph. If you want a specific number, go crunch the fucking numbers and get back to us.
How about you give me the high and the low?
We measured 20 degrees per hour rotational, so-called rotation, and on the low end, we've measured 11 degrees per hour, and this all varied within the temperature range. Go look at the fucking graph.
What's the temperature range that those numbers coming from?
I think it was 20 to 40, maybe. Dude, go look at the graph.
It wasn't from 20 to 40.
We've all
I
seen the
think
graph.
it was mid 15, 20.
Yeah, the blue data stream doesn't say 20 degrees, Jeremy.
Bring the graph up.
The blue data stream doesn't say 20 degrees.
Hold on.
Yeah, if you think temperature is directly correlated to
Posting it in the
rotation,
chat. I'm putting it in the chat.
I expect a
There's
ratio.
nothing more to say till I listen. There's nothing more to say till I put the temperature chart in the chat. There we go. 20 to 26, 20 to 28 degrees. We got one set. That's all up there. Then when it's in between 29 and 31, we got another little range, and then when we get to 35 degrees, we got a slower rotational rate. So is temperature affecting rotational rate or what?
I highly doubt it's affecting the rotation rate, but it might be affecting the sensors that are actually sensing the rotation. Most likely it's that one.
If temperature is directly correlated to the rotation, then there should be a formula attached to it that will tell me the ratio of temperature to rotation. Is that what you can derive from that chart?
Temperature is proven as true. No, it's indisputable, and rotation is what we're trying to prove here. So nice try.
Well, give me the ratio. If there is a correlation, there is a ratio. So give me the ratio.
Again, that hasn't even been proven, so you're putting the cart before the horse. Circular logic.
You're claiming that temperature affects rotation.
No,
if that is
we're
correct,
not.
there's a
No, we're
correlation
claiming
between
that
We're not
affects
saying this is
drift.
rotation.
rotation. So what's the ratio?
Drift, homie.
That's why I was very specific in my responding to Jeremy. I don't think temperature is affecting the rate of rotation. I would say the temperature was affecting the sensors that are sensing the rotation, and
The
those
sensors
two are
don't sense
entirely two
rotation.
different things.
The
No,
sensors sense rotation. They sense drift. Okay, the rotation hasn't been proven yet. We haven't excluded these variables
No,
to
you're wrong.
prove that rotation is happening.
You're wrong.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you're right.
Basically, what they're saying is if you had a temperature of 36 degrees, that this device will always yield something along the lines of between, what is it, 13 and 14 degrees per minute, per hour.
And I'm also looking at the product specification. It shows like it can handle from -40 to +75 Celsius, I think, right?
If you look at that graph, there is a direct correlation. Like I could say, if I looked at that instrument blind and I just took it out of the box, put it on the table, I know if it's at 35 degrees Celsius, it will read 13 degrees per hour. So if it's reading 13 degrees per hour, it's a thermometer. It's telling me that it's just telling me that it's 13 degrees temperature-wise. Sorry, 35
Consider
degrees.
the effect. Consider the effect of having 3 of these gyros, one at 45 north, one on the equator, 145 south, and not only compare the total reading, but the individual axes.
Ooh,
and how they would differ. And tell me how temperature causes the counter north versus south and the difference in these things, the 45s versus the equator. Tell me how temperature does this. I'm out.
Yeah, they've got the complexity of all 3 axes that sort of shoots the fuck out of the concept of temperature being the cause.
I mean, just grabbing it and spinning it in your hand should be enough to show you that temperature isn't the cause.
I mean, I'm trying to really look how this gyroscope works exactly. Like, what's the mechanism inside it? I want to see how it exactly affects the rotation or the senses of the rotation by the temperature.
Isn't it the beams of light, Sagnac effect, where it shoots the light off a prism one way and the other, and if one takes longer to get back to the center or to the starting point, then it knows it's deviated.
It doesn't necessarily take longer. It basically, you have frequencies that if they overlap each other, that means, and they destroy each other, that means it's fine. But if there's a frequency, there's a rate of frequency, then that means there's actually movement or motion.
Okay. Well, I've heard 2 different stories.
No, it's kind of right. It's the
What
same
you said
thing.
was right.
Different
It's
way
basically-
to describe it.
Yeah, just on the plate with that kind of reads it. They just read the wavelength of the light, and then if the interference pattern has if it's constructive, basically if the peaks kind of add to each other, then they'll see that they came at the same time. If they didn't and it's destructive, then it's kind of like flattening out the peaks, and it came at different times basically.
Yeah, I was just kind of simplifying the return rate.
Yeah, you were talking about the
But
entire process. He was
same-
talking about how it's registered on at like the plate, the mirror plate or whatever it's called.
Well, I'm confused because I want to work out how it works, and then he tells me how it works. I'm like, wait a minute.
They don't measure the frequency, they measure the phase shift. Because if you use the same frequency and it takes a different length of time, the phase between them changes on the sine wave so that they don't so that the values add up differently.
Hey, Alan.
Hey.
Sheeple here.
Yeah, I recognize the voice. I don't even need to see you lighting up. I recognize the voice. You're doing good there, mate.
It's been a while. Hope you're good.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
We've been talking about the idea that, or when it gets plus or minus in the degrees, then the measured rotation is affected. but inside the manufacturers. But is there any way
there's a really
that the
easy way to
rotation can
see
be
if
measured?
There's a really easy way to see whether the temperature is causing the rotation, or whether it's just temperature causing the temperature change, just causing a variation in how the temperature, the rate of movement that's measured.
All right.
Turn the gyroscope.
Here we go.
Turn the
I thought you were
gyroscope
done.
through
My
90
bad.
degrees.
I just turn it on and spin it.
Well, no.
All right, I'm posting.
You know,
This guy's gonna spew his nonsense again. Go ahead.
turn it through 90 degrees so that it's measuring, at the normal to the direction that you were just measuring, and then turn it at 90 degrees again, so that you've got 3 axes, and you'll see that the drift is only in one direction.
Good point. I posted a paper. I thought you were done. My bad. My bad. I thought you were done.
Jeremy, he's a lot smarter than you. I'd rather listen to him.
I know. That's why I said my bad. I thought he was done. You guys take huge pauses in between sentences, indicating that you're done talking. But my bad. Go ahead.
Your connection's shit, Jeremy. To be honest.
Please
Jeremy,
continue.
I apologise, but I have a health condition that affects
It's fine.
the speed of my brain.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's why I said I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought you were done.
So
yeah,
you just essentially set the gyroscope up so that it's normal to itself in the 3 axes, and look at the effect temperature has on the on the measurements that you are getting in those different directions, and you'll see that yes, you will get a variation in because the calibration is because essentially the calibration is temperature dependent. You will see a variation, an overall variation, but in the direction where there's no rotation, it will still record 0. It's not like it's going to record 18 degrees per hour in one direction, and then you change the direction and it's going to record 18 degrees an hour because of the temperature. Yes, if you happen to know what the rotation rate is, then you could essentially use it as a thermometer. But you would have to know what the rotation rate was before you could do that. Now, we know that temperature affects the calibration, so we can take that into consideration when we do our measurements. Because essentially we calibrate the thing to work at one temperature and then try and use it at that temperature. Because that's the same with all measuring devices. I mean, even a steel rule, it expands when it gets hot. So, you measure something one day when it's really hot, the steel rule will be a little bit longer than it would be if it was a really cold day.
And Jeremy, Nick posted something. Just look it up and read it. Don't miss it out, okay? I know you like missing things and shit and avoiding stuff, but read what he mentioned to you about.
Yeah, he said they use it to navigate space. Yeah, no, I saw it. That's
yes,
cute.
yeah, motherfucker,
okay,
I love you.
That's cute. That's cute. All right. So I posted a link in the chat, and it says experimental results demonstrate that after compensation, the bias drift greatly reduced from 15 degrees to 0 degrees per hour approximately. What does that mean to you guys?
I want to hear your opinion first.
I'm asking for your opinion.
No, I want to hear your opinion first. You're
if I go to a doctor and say, hey, something with my arm, I need your opinion. He doesn't say, no, I want to hear your opinion first.
No, he will ask you, what do you feel? What's the sensation? Do you feel pain here, pain there? How do you feel?
I feel that experimental results demonstrate that after compensation, the bias drift greatly reduced from 15 degrees to 0 degrees per hour, approximately. That's how I feel.
That's how you feel, and I agree with you.
Yeah,
Thank you
that's how
very
I feel.
much. Let's move
All right,
on.
so-
The rotation is real.
What is that?
And that's not how you use it, because you can still. I mean, if you use it correctly, you can have it on an airplane, and it'll show you true north based on the rotation of the Earth. So
Yeah,
still works.
The point is that excerpt does not have enough context in it to be able to answer the question just asked.
Okay, what's the compensation for the bias drift? What does that mean?
I have absolutely no idea because I haven't read the rest of the paper.
Do you know what a bias drift is?
Yeah, of course I know what the bias drift is, but
Bias drift.
I would want to see the rest of the paper so that I could actually explain to you what that was going to do.
All right,
Because
how about we just start with the words that the sentence is using? What's bias drift mean?
that is the rotation of the Earth.
So after compensation, the rotation of the Earth greatly reduced from 15 degrees to 0 degrees per hour.
If you, like I said,
So I'm gonna replace. Hold on.
There is not enough information in that excerpt for me to be able to give you a sensible answer.
I feel you. Let me replace the words you gave me for bias drift. Experimental results demonstrate that after compensation, the rotation of the Earth greatly reduced from 15 degrees to 0 degrees per hour, approximately.
So Jeremy, if there's something that's moving 15 degrees per hour, and I compensate for that by moving the measurement tool 15 degrees an hour the other way, should it read 0 because I've compensated for the rotation?
The sentence is saying the rotate.
Yes, I think that was the correct answer. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, in
right,
order
let's
to be able to
delve
say
deeper in.
sensible stuff about that, you need more information.
If my room is 20 degrees centigrade or Celsius, and I have a thermometer that I have 0 at 20, then it'll show 0. And I think you need to look more into the paper before making any claims about it, maybe.
Yeah, we need more of the paper to be able to make any sensible comment about what that says. It's typical cherry picking.
And if bias drift is the rotation of the Earth, of course you're going to get 0 if you compensate for the rotation of the Earth.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to compensate the bias drift, you're going to reduce it from hopefully 15 to 0.
Yeah, I mean it's obvious. That's what should happen.
Yeah.
Well,
So
how
that
does
way you
thermal?
know it's
How does
not doing
thermal?
anything.
How does thermal drift affect the gyro? That's just temp. Are they just talking about temperature?
There's no such a thing as thermal drift. Okay, stop saying
Yeah,
that.
what's thermal drift? Do you
That is
meaning
a
like
thing.
Well, I don't know.
hot
Some
air
guy told me
moving
to
through
stop
things?
saying it. I must have said this phrase before today or sometime in the past. I don't remember when, but when did I say thermal drift before? Those are the first times I think I've ever uttered those two words together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, say the wrong thing once and someone says, stop saying that, you got it wrong. So it doesn't have to be before, it can be right now.
Yeah, I mean, devices, especially electronic devices, do suffer from thermal drift. In other words, the output will change with a change of temperature.
So that's just when they say thermal.
For a fixed input.
When they say thermal drift, they're just talking about temperature.
Yeah, I think it would be more accurate to say cryo drift.
Well, yeah.
Because it drifts
but
more with colder temperatures.
Yeah, I mean, or higher. I mean, you know.
Well, according to this data, it's lower temperatures causes it to drift more.
Yeah, but drift with temperature is something that we see all the time in engineering, especially in electronic engineering. It's something we expect. Resistance, for example, is a temperature dependent function.
That's true.
So, you know,
I know
everything-
that because my phone charges quicker when it's colder.
Yeah, because it reduces the internal resistance of the battery, and you can therefore push more current through the battery at the same voltage.
My laptop doesn't work good at 94 degrees.
No, nobody's laptop is going to work good at 94 degrees. Most junctions are not going to like that.
No. Everything seems to slow
mine
down.
likes to
It's weird.
Most PN junctions are not going to like that, should I say?
Most traffic junctions don't work at 94 degrees Celsius either.
You know, you know,
But as soon as it comes down to a good temperature, 50, 60, something like that, it works flawlessly.
I mean, that's why we spend so much time calibrating stuff in electronics, especially where it matters. I mean, I used to spend most of my time in the Royal Air Force as a radar technician calibrating receivers and video equipment, because they do, the output will drift with temperature. So,
Well, perhaps the ether's spinning faster as you go higher up, or electromagnetically something spinning it a little faster than
Yeah.
No.
We're talking temperature, not altitude.
But the ring laser is only measuring itself. How does the ether affect it?
the ether's flowing through the gyro.
It doesn't work this way, my dude. The gyro doesn't work this way. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and let's just say the radar systems I worked on were ground based, and they were definitely very hard to move. It took up two floors of an area about the size of a basketball court inside a building that was designed to survive a nuclear airburst above it, and the aerial on the top was 60 feet wide. The reflector dish was 60 feet wide, 20 feet high, and weighed 60 tons, and turned at 4 revolutions a minute. It was,
Damn.
it wasn't going anywhere. People ask me if I was deployed. I mean, no, I wasn't deployed. It would be really difficult to deploy with that. Of course, that was back in the Cold War.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was like, what the fuck? It looks big and moves relatively fast. It must be stationary shit.
Well, Earth would need to be moving through a substance to prove movement. The question is whether or not that substance is stationary and or flowing in and through and around it.
Your premises are unjustified.
In what way?
You're assuming that there's something that is going through the Earth. This is what we actually need to prove. You don't presume it, then you move on with it.
I'm just talking about the logical constraints that are necessary.
There's no logical constraints.
Anywhere with this question. You need to go through a substance to give you a wind, and that wind would determine your movement. But if you're saying that space is a vacuum, then you effectively have no way to prove movement in any way, shape, or form until you admit that space is an ethery, trickly, like substance.
Motion is relative, first of all. Okay, speed is relative. Keep that in mind.
It's only relative if you act like space is nothing. If you act like space is nothing, act like it can't give you a wind, then relativity becomes necessary. It becomes unnecessary the moment you admit that space is a substance that you're moving through to provide a wind of some sort.
We have comprehensively discredited all of the ether arguments over the years.
In what way? It looks like it was more of a political decision than anything.
No.
The moment the ether returned ether speeds that were too slow for Copernicanism.
I've told you the history of ether multiple times, long time ago. I don't want to go in with it. And Albert Einstein debunked that shit because they needed the ether to explain planetary orbits and objects. And the ethers of that times, of that properties, is the same as space. They just changed the name, and then it actually has nothing to do with it. So yeah, man.
Albert
the ether you speak
Einstein's
of doesn't exist.
Albert Einstein's thought experiment is a way to save face in light of the experimental framework that would imply that the Earth is moving very slowly, if at all.
Nope, wrong.
Lemonbird, did you say that the ether flows through everything?
Mm-hmm.
So that means it flows through solid objects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not so
And
confident, I see.
gaseous objects. So if it can flow through everything, how does it affect anything?
It can accumulate in certain objects more than others, it appears. Some it passes through like a
How?
sieve. Some accumulate the wind more than others, it appears.
No,
No, it
not
doesn't.
how it appears. How would it do that?
Guess we'd have to explore it. How does gravity
light
act
moves-
the distance without a medium to move the interaction? These questions and more need to be answered, but the ether as a framework is much more intuitive and much less metaphysical than the gravity working through a vacuum with no medium to carry the interaction.
Actually, I would disagree with you.
But we don't have a medium for light to travel through either. Light doesn't have a medium that it travels through. Yeah.
The medium's the ether.
No,
So
there
if
is
you
no
evacuate
ether.
the medium-
It's comprehensively shown that there is no ether for electromagnetic radiation.
First of all, Lemon's ether doesn't exist. Second of all, he doesn't know what's the properties of the ether. He just says it flows, and he tried to justify anomalies of his own worldview as there's rotation that is caused by the ether. He can't give any definitive answer. He just comes by, throw it there, and he fucking leaves.
Oh, yeah, I know. I usually try and avoid dealing with Lemon because he's one of the people that can really trigger me.
Funny that if ether goes through everything and walls stop light, I mean, how does light move in the ether?
Because the ether bunches up in the wall, causing it to be opaque to light.
Walls are fake.
I mean, unfortunately, it's the Michelson Morley's quite good at showing that the ether doesn't exist, isn't it? That was the one I was trying to think of.
Yeah, but it had a drift.
But it's not conclusive because they're not getting any consistent measurement at all, and they themselves debunked their own ambitions.
Right, and modern tests of it don't have the same problem where the precision is improved dramatically.
And there are like huge problems, like if this ether doesn't affect the light in any way, shape, or form, it's like we can say for sure it doesn't even affect anything other than its actual like mass force. But of course they don't believe in gravity, so we don't really need to worry about that thing.
It's easy to deny things.
Funny that Lemon needs light to go through a medium, but there's, a lot of things that are not medium dependent.
Exactly.
Yeah. What you mean, like the electric field force and the magnetic field force, and quite a lot of other stuff, really.
I mean, those mediums are all generated by something, but the light itself, the photon, is an actual medium traveling through space-time. It's like it's even weirder than that.
It's like I'd ask Lemon, where does the ether exist in? It has to have a medium. And if ether can be a medium in and of itself, why can't a photon be?
Because it's not intuitive. Without an intuitive framework.
I mean, to be honest with you, it is intuitive. Like, it's an ancient thing. They believed it like it's the air that encompasses everything else. So, like, it took them a while to actually remove the idea or conception of, like, there must be a medium. Like, not so long time ago, even, like, the early days of Einstein, he had to actually wrestle with other scientists that the proposed medium need to be, matterless, frictionless, transparent, massless, doesn't interact with anything. And they really didn't really conceive of it. Like, it took them time to actually realize that this is actually a real thing.
Wanted to have nothing existing.
I don't know if it's so much
Basically.
intuitive that it has to be there. It's just one of these things where it's you got an A or B choice. There's nothing, or there's an ether. And you basically, without any evidence, you get to choose one of those.
And if everything needs a medium, then ether needs a medium, and that medium needs a medium, and everything needs a medium.
Yo, guys, if it's nothing, then what's the universe expanding into?
Nobody says it's nothing, my dude. Relax.
You guys
Chill
think
your
it's
horse.
nothing. It's no medium.
We're talking about specific type of medium that is debunked.
Yeah, so if there's no medium and no matter, then it's nothing, right?
No one says that there's no
No,
matter. I mean,
that's
there's
wrong.
matter. I'm standing on the earth. That's matter.
You have quantum fields that are dependent on this universe. You have a gravity field, you have space-time. All those things are basic mediums.
Okay, so it's a medium of quantum energy?
No, it's a
Well,
field.
it's obviously not nothing, right?
It's a field.
Okay, so you agree it's not nothing.
No, yeah, I agree with you.
Fantastic. So I think it was Moyak or whoever said, it's a choice between nothing and ether or whatever. But the point is, it's not nothing because, you can't have
Well,
two
we're
different
basically
types of
talking in the colloquial sense when Lemon says that it's impossible to have nothing. His understanding of nothing is as if like absence of matter,
Okay,
but there would need to be a substance. The space is mostly like it's like very low in matter, but it's not absence of anything. There are still things in it, and those are fields. Those
Okay,
are
so-
different from matter.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So these fields of quantum fluctuations or what have you, couldn't you say that that's the medium? This field of quantum energy?
That's a field. Medium mostly consists out of fucking matter. Those don't.
Does it have to be of matter?
Dude, give me a fucking medium without a matter.
Does a medium have to be of matter?
Give me a medium where there's no matter.
No, well, what's the definition of medium?
Something that is consistent out of matter.
I don't think so. I
I don't
think
know,
it's something that
space-time-
propagates energy, right?
Space-time could be a medium because it apparently ripples.
I mean, you can think of it as a medium if you want to, but I would rather call it a field, man.
That's fine.
Right.
Just don't say it's nothing. That's my issue. Don't say it's nothing. That there's no medium.
I
no
didn't
nothing.
say it's nothing.
I know, but other people do. Other people say no.
Not-
There's no
when
medium.
when other people say
light doesn't
nothing, they
require a
mean it's
medium.
lacking of matter. That's
I
fine.
know, but
And I
they
was actually
say light doesn't
speaking
require a
more-
medium when obviously it requires this. Whether you want to say this field or this medium of quantum energy, it requires something, right?
I was speaking more along the lines of a historical thing. When we speak about the intuitive nature of whether we need a medium, I was not speaking of after we found out that there was a Big Bang and after we found out there's cosmic background radiation. I was just saying the concept of is it possible to have a nothing, or is it possible to have a medium? It really just comes down to a choice at that point.
No, it's not possible to have nothing because that's what supposedly the universe is expanding into. So you can't have nothing within the universe when it's expanding into nothing.
All the matter in the universe is expanding into it.
We don't know what the universe is expanding to.
So the universe is expanding into something? Into
Could be.
matter?
We don't know.
Probably, yeah, we don't know.
If someone says we don't know, if someone says we don't know, then how can you say that they gave you an answer with like a knowledge claim?
Because it's the law of non-contradiction. It can only be one of
No,
these
it
two
isn't.
things. Yes, it can't be expanding
it
into
isn't.
nothing and expanding into matter at the same time.
No.
Yeah, and you asked where is it expanding to, and he says I don't know, and you said so it's expanding to something.
No, because I said initially it's expanding into nothing. They said we don't know. So the only if you're gonna cast doubt on that, the only other option is that it's expanding into matter, which is just asinine.
If I cast doubt on it, it can be either of those.
That's a false
It's
dichotomy, by
another
the way.
thing.
It's not
Isn't
about the logical
actually-
non-contradictions. It's actually a false dichotomy.
Yeah.
It's not a false dichotomy. What's the third?
It is because
the third option?
you're asserting there's only two possibilities where we actually don't
Yeah,
have
what's the third
enough
one?
dedicated like knowledge of the universe to actually rebuttal this. So we always say we don't know. We can't know for sure.
A false dichotomy means that there's a third choice. That's not one of the two. So what's
No, the false dichotomy is when you are asserting there's only two choices and there's no third option because it becomes contradictory. It must be one of those two. You're the one who made that fallacy, not me.
What's the third option then, bro?
I don't know. I don't postulate what the options are because
And
we
you
don't
can't
know.
claim it's a false dichotomy if you don't know that there's a third
Percentage,
option.
you don't even know if there's two options.
You could say it could be a third false dichotomy if there was a third option, but you can't say that, so you can't claim it's a false dichotomy.
You don't even know that there's two options.
Yeah, you can't say it's a.
For me, there's only one option.
If you don't know,
You don't know any of
If
the
the
options.
universe is expanding, it's expanding into nothing.
You don't know that.
Why?
Because that's the only way it could work. The universe is
Wow.
something,
No, no.
right? You can't have the universe expanding into itself. It's expanding into nothing.
You can.
It's not expanding into another universe.
You can have it expanding into itself because
You can have gas.
expanding with the universe.
I can have gas expanding in gas. It's easy.
If you don't know the answer of something,
You don't have it expanding into gas. You have gas expanding and pushing other gas, maybe.
Yeah. So something expanding into something.
No, it's
Right.
expanding into the space between the gas molecules and maybe even pushing if there's container,
So into
pushing
nothing.
that
Nothing
gas.
inside the universe. Are you saying that there's nothing between gas particles?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have
hold up,
nothing
hold
in-
up, no, hold up. So the nothing that is between gas particles or whatever, again, it's the wrong word to use because that's the same nothing that you were talking about in space, right? It's not truly nothing. Truly nothing is outside of this universe.
How do you know that?
You know outside.
I don't know that. I actually don't believe that there is anything outside of this universe.
Wait, if you don't know, then
Okay,
why
so
did
there
you
has to be
use that as a
something.
position?
No, there is no outside this universe.
No, hold on. When you say a belief is a truth statement. It can either be true or false. So you can't have the assertion or the certainty that there's nothing else than that. You can believe if you want to, but you still can be true or false.
Can you repeat that again, if you don't mind? The last thing you said.
I said whenever someone's saying or making the statement, I believe in specific thing, basically he's basically postulating that I believe in this thing, confidence, it is true, but the belief statement is basically I'm not sure it's actually true or for certain. It still has the plausibility that it's true or false.
Kind of like when you guys say you believe that the gyroscope shows drift constant when it's showing different drifts, kind of like that, belief. An
I
average.
don't want to be I don't want to generalize, but if you want to know what the people really meant by saying that, it's better to ask them directly to them. But in philosophy, if there was someone to make that statement would either have a truth claim or a false claim, or like truth or falsehood. But I don't know how people use belief in those like colloquial sense. People may say I believe, but they truly mean I know for sure or for certainty. So you need to ask them directly. It's better.
So kind of like when we say we know there's a 15-hour drift at the equator, 15 degree drift at the equator, and then we say we know it's traveling at 1,037, but we believe we shouldn't feel anything, kind of like that.
Or maybe kind of when you say that I believe the Earth is flat and kind of like that maybe.
Well, no, based on those findings that we know it's 15, we know it's the other thing. We know that we don't have the ability to sense motions that are that minor.
So you believe that you shouldn't be able to feel
No, I know.
a movement of 1,037 miles an hour. That's what you're saying.
I know that I cannot detect that small of a angular speed change.
And again, it's a tangential speed, first of all. Second of all, we don't experience speed, we experience acceleration and deceleration. So keep those in mind, since you assume or you pretend to know our model, the heliocentric model. Don't make those mistakes again, SE Montreal.
Oh, let me correct you, sir. So the rotational speed is supposedly felt constantly, right? Did you kind of like mistake that for
at levels that are below our ability to measure with our senses?
When you say the 1,000 mile per hour per second, that fucking shit, you're talking about tangential speed. That's not an angular speed, okay?
I know it
And
triggers
I mentioned that one. When you provide that statement as if a rhetorical tactic to make us look ridiculous when we're telling you no, you can't really feel it, and you say 1,000 like a catchphrase, you know, you're not supposed to feel
it makes you look ridiculous. Exactly.
Yeah, because this is how you perceive it. But I'm telling you, you don't understand how this fucking works. We don't experience constant speeds. We experience accelerations or different in acceleration. That's it. It's simple.
And I countered with that with a rotational speed, a rotational motion is felt constantly, correct?
How'd that feel?
It's very interesting and mind-boggling, honestly. I don't think you're understanding the point what I'm saying, right?
Oh, I understand it all right.
Okay, tell me, what did I say then?
Dude, you're equating two things here.
What did I say?
You're saying that a rotational speed is constant and should not be felt, and I told you you're wrong about that.
What did I say specifically? You're fucking twisting my words like a weaselly.
No, that's what you said.
What did I say? We don't fucking feel constant speed.
If you made an error,
we don't feel constant speed. Angular velocity, my dude, it's a fucking change always in direction and velocity. It's different. We can put machines to sense this shit.
Yes, my dude. So now we're traveling at 1,037 at the equator, my dude. That's breaking the speed of sound, my dude. What's up with that?
Compared to what?
It's not breaking the speed of sound, first of all. It's relative, my fuck.
Montreal, you're a stationary earther.
Yeah, man, it's not moving 1,000 to you, my dude.
According
I'm telling you, your model, my dude.
No, my dude, my model doesn't work like this way, my dude. I feel like someone told you my model after he smoked like pot and took some acid on it as well.
So you don't know your own model. Wow.
Dude, I fucking study my own model. I know my fucking own model. I'm telling you, trust me, trust you, it's not the same way. It doesn't work this way. I'm sorry. I know you dropped out of school, you didn't go to university, you didn't study shit, but it's fine, man.
Oh, at home time. I love it. I like it.
It's not at home, it's truth. It's truth. Tell me I'm wrong.
So tell us, how is this?
Tell me I'm wrong before you call me an ad hom.
How did they?
Was I
how
wrong?
did they make you? How did they make you fantasize that you cannot feel a speed traveling at 1,037? How did they do that to you? You're so smart.
It's evident.
You have the schooling.
Experience says we don't feel speed.
I can tell you.
For war. This is the example. Why can you not understand that?
Someone help him, please.
I can tell you how they made me fantasize. They gave me a freedom to think for myself. That's how. Because we actually think for ourselves, unlike some people who are deluded to think that it's flat and motionless.
You sit on a mag.
You are delusional if you think you're sat upon something that's traveling at 1,037. You are delusional. They have made you believe that. You are delusional.
Let me correct you. You are delusional if you think that we live on a flat, motionless plane. But I know this is gonna trigger you. Maybe we shouldn't use the word delusional because you're gonna get triggered.
No, I'm having a good day. I'm here to celebrate with you guys. Today's a big day for you guys.
What, you want to celebrate your stupidity?
Oh, what's a big day for us?
Yeah, you proved you have proof. You have your data. It's a big day for you guys.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for your data, by the way. We have been waiting for like centuries now. We haven't got anything yet.
I mean, 5,000 years is a long time.
I know, right?
Well, it's worse than that. Every piece of evidence they seem to bring us actually starts to demonstrate that the Earth rotates. It is a globe.
Well, Montreal is a stationary earther, which means that the entirety of the everything is moving, except us.
Is he?
Yeah. Remember, it's SE Montreal, and he has stated so many times that he's a stationary earther.
By the way, I'm still. Sorry, go ahead. No. Because I keep notes on flat earthers. I'm still waiting for the evidence for the new exotic material that we had no previous knowledge of in Montreal. I remember we asked you for this when we were trying to deposit that the geologists or the archaeologists don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Oh, you keep notes, do you?
I
You're
do.
the note keeper, new guy. Oh, that's interesting. We'll keep that in mind.
I just put in and write some notes on you so I can know if you truly are a bullshit or an honest man.
Okay,
Looks
right.
like you're not passing
hold
the
on.
test.
You're taking notes that the notes is he's taking notes. So does that make you the note keeper now?
I'm the note keeper of the note keeper. Yes.
He made you the note keeper by inception.
Good. I'm the note keeper of the dishonest people.
So, note keeper, you're referring to the Kola deep borehole, I assume?
I don't know. You said there's a new exotic material that we haven't even predicted or discovered or knew about.
Yes, correct. You're not familiar with that?
I'm still waiting for the evidence.
You're waiting for the evidence?
If
I'm not
know
here
about
to school you. If you want to
I
find
see.
out what that material is, which I said many times, go look for it yourself. Do some research, get educated, and you will see at the bottom, sir, of the Kola deep borehole, they found a substance not known previously to man. Yes.
Wow, we made a
True story.
discovery by going to a new place.
Vibranium. I know it's vibranium. Tell me it's
No.
vibranium.
It's Satanium.
Satanium.
I thought it was the Montrealium.
What kind of
See
further?
what I did there?
Nice one.
That was funny, Dross.
Very warm silicate.
No, I'm pretty sure it's bad jokium.
It was called non-obtainium. But for real, ladies and gentlemen, this is a true story.
Not really.
Alrighty then, lady. Can you present where you got this info from?
You want
The
me to
Kiwi
present
blog
where I got
news.
this info from? You think
Well,
I'm
can you
going
give
to
us the
dance
name
for
of the
you?
material? Can you give us the name of the material or something that we could search on?
I'm not even
Kola
sure they
borehole
named
is
it.
the big- Oh wow, they wouldn't have named it. Somebody discovers something, they don't name it. Interesting.
This is
That's
common
not- that
knowledge
doesn't
to
give
everybody
anybody
but you
out.
buffoons, it seems. This
No,
is
that's
common
fine.
knowledge.
We don't know. We're ignorant. That's fine. Now we're trying to become not ignorant because unlike flat earthers, we don't want to be ignorant forever. So can you help us identify the location of where this would be?
Do you know how many times I posted this information? I'm sitting comfortably on a chair right now. I ain't moving, doing nothing for you guys. It's there.
Oh,
Look for
scared.
it.
He's scared. He doesn't
Wait,
have it.
Montreal,
Oh,
He doesn't have it.
you've never actually produced the paper.
I remember he didn't.
I posted many sites talking about it before. Many.
Yeah, just
I
talking about
remember
it.
now.
But not the actual from the actual scientists who published the paper.
Dude,
summary.
I provided you with some information. Now,
Come on, man.
what you do with it, it's entirely up to you. before. You never heard of the
the
Russian
what?
deep borehole. You never heard of the big race between
Essie,
the
Essie,
Americans and the Russians to reach the bottom. Like
hold
in the
on,
race
hold on. I think
in
you're being a
space.
bit dishonest there. Because you were talking about this fantasy material that we haven't heard of, and now you're changing the question. Oh, you guys are ignorant about the Polar Deep Super Deep borehole. You didn't know about the hole that they dug.
Listen,
We knew
I
about the
couldn't
hole,
give a
Essie.
rat's ass what you believe, Laurie. I
Effie, I've
told
got
you
one
something.
quick question
Now,
for
if
you.
you believe it or not, I could care less. You're
Who
a
owns-
troll.
Who owns
You
I was
are
just
a
making
troll.
I was just making a point, Essie. You changed the question from do we know about the material that you claim they discovered to you do not know about them digging the borehole. That's dishonest, Essie.
No,
who owns,
no.
Who owns the
I laid some
Polar Deep
info on your
borehole?
lap. I laid some info on your lap. Now, what you do with it, I couldn't care less. The
Effie,
people that
but
are
this-
smart are going to
Well,
go
I just want
research
to get a
this.
question out, please.
Hold on. Just let
Effie.
me finish this. And yes, the people that are smart are going to research what I said and they're going to see I am correct.
So, being our Polar borehole expert, what country? Who owns the Polar borehole now?
I never said I was an expert.
Oh.
Never once did I say
So you don't know about the Gola borehole?
I love the way you guys do that. You think
When you turn it around
think
on you
that
the same
you're-
stupid way
you
do
think
it?
you're clever, are you? Do you?
Well, do you know which country is now responsible for the Polar borehole?
I could care less.
So you don't really know a lot about it then. I'm surprised considering you're supposed to have all this expertise and knowledge that you don't.
Listen, Jurassic boy.
Why
I
haven't you
came in
heard
here
about
months ago. Listen up. I came in here
Wait,
months
you don't know
ago. I
about the borehole.
educated
Why
you
are we
all.
listening to you?
I educated you all on the Russian borehole. Now cry like a bunch of little bitches. I have a sandwich that's I can smell it. I'll be back.
You don't know about the deep
me
borehole.
while
You
I'm
You
just
gone.
can't
told
hear
us.
our crying
we'll-
over your crying over the rotation of the Earth.
And we'll pick this up after my little sandwich.
Gold nanoparticles.
Yeah.
My
Go
goodness.
ahead.
Gold
anyone else,
nanoparticles and fossils. Interesting. Rocks from Archean. Just what's this word? Archean. 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 Yep.
Wait, spell it.
Archean.
Yeah,
I didn't actually know that borehole is actually quite close to Finland, so maybe I should, after this pandemic goes over, I should take a trip there.
I just posted an article about a phone company that moved a building with the people working in it. They didn't even notice it moving.
Really?
So you're saying that there's limitations on our census? Was that house moving faster than the Earth rotates as far as angular momentum or angular velocity?
It would have to be moving faster, even just a teeny tiny bit. Or maybe it was going the opposite way. I don't know.
No one looked out the window at all. They must have been heads down doing their work. Crazy.
It was moving so slowly. You read the article, they moved it very, very small amounts over a long period of time.
Very cool.
When they move like the space shuttle and stuff, they move that on one of these creepers. I wonder if you can feel the motion of that.
Yeah, it's crazy they need that huge big thing considering the claim is that it's a helium balloon.